My dear friends, first of all, I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to the conference organizers for investing their minds and souls into creating this absolutely amazing and historical event. I honestly could not hold my tears. And I also want to thank all of you for being with us today. My name is Dennis Kotseba. I am a co-founder of the Shimcheon Institute, a father of 5 children and 4 businesses, and a coach. I truly honor and I feel a privilege to have this opportunity to share a piece of my life and heart with you. In the tapestry of human history, our innate desire for unity has been a vibrant thread. Just think about it. We've engineered cars and planes, making our planet into really a global village. As Simon and Garfunkel put it, we've built bridges over troubled waters, all to experience that simple joy of a heartfelt embrace with our loved ones. Our world has been intertwined by a global economy and the digital threats of the internet. These days, I can video call my daughter thousands of kilometers away from a car as I drive to work. Just pause for a moment and marvel at this. 30 years ago, when my hair was much darker, it would have seemed fantastic and impossible. And just 2 years ago, something else also seemed impossible. However, the horrific nightmare came into reality as one morning I woke up to the bone-chilling sounds of a missile attack in Kiev, a European capital. This was when the dark side of our interconnected world started revealing itself to me. I learned that in this world, a desire to disconnect from a communist past could invite dire consequences, that those lusting for power could invade my home, trampling my children's playgrounds with their tanks, kill civilians, all while deceitfully calling me their brother. So suddenly my comfortable and interconnected world shattered like a dropped smartphone screen. From the first days of invasion, the supply chains were disrupted. Stores in Kiev had to close. I was compelled to become a modern hunter-gatherer. I would scour the city for any open shop to provide for my family. It wasn't about preference anymore. It was about survival. There were days when bread was a luxury, so I would replace it with snacks from a gas station. I had to visit them almost daily, since keeping my car's tank full was a lifeline. But after hours in line, I was allowed only 5 to 10 liters of fuel. Our own gas plants lay in ruins, imports stopped, and what trickled in from Europe was less than a drop in the bucket. And then there was the quest for my wife's insulin made in France, which became a rare treasure. Many pharmacies had closed. Their staff, mainly women, had fled with their children to safety. So spotting an open pharmacy wasn't so hard. The same long lines of people waiting in the cold gave it away. Join the queue, wait, only to hear, sorry, we are out of stock, and go home empty-handed. You see, having grown up under a disconnected and isolated communist regime, I was no stranger to scarcity and long lines. But for those raised in an age of abundance and interconnectedness, this was a cruel challenge. And in the midst of all this chaos, I made a decision you could call brave and foolish at the same time. I chose to change my career completely, moving from tech to coaching. This decision emerged from 2 profound realizations drawn from my own experiences. My professional journey began in IT when I founded a web design company at the start of millennium. In those times, people in the corporate world were called a resource, just like office furniture. But over years of implementing projects with cutting-edge technologies, it became increasingly clear to me it is people and not the technology who drive progress forward. I bet you know that the world of IT is full of nerds like myself. We feel like gods creating virtual worlds, yet we lose touch with the very essence of real-life connections. A high IQ can indeed be a double-edged sword when emotional intelligence takes the back seat. So this led to my first reason for leaving IT. I wanted to transform myself, to evolve from a computer guy to a people person, to shift my focus from machines to the heartbeat of progress, people. I figured that this profession will create an extra stimulus to change, as only here my bank statement would directly reflect my own internal development. And my second inspiration was drawn from a broader canvas, the transformation of my country. I've always believed that small businesses are the bedrock of a nation's economy, and my company provided technological solutions to simplify the life of those entrepreneurs. However, I realized that their growth was often impeded by doubts, fears, and a limited mindset. My belief in Ukraine's eventual victory in this war has never wavered. I anticipate a post-war period as a pivotal moment for Ukraine, a time when the country can leap forward and fundamentally reinvent itself. But to fully harness these possibilities, a shift of mindset is crucial. We simply cannot step into a new era burdened with old worldviews, values, and approaches. The most tenacious shackles of the past are in our minds and hearts, and they are in dire need of liberation. So my second reason for diving into coaching was born from a deep desire to assist business owners in this journey of transformation, to help them unlock their potential, realize their own power, and embrace a future that we as a nation are more than capable of shaping. And in this transition, my goal extends beyond being just a coach. I aim to ignite a movement of change, a transformation of both mind and heart. This shift will lead to universally embraced values, fostering a culture of co-living and shared prosperity. As I delved into my coaching studies, Russia's troops were expelled from the Kyiv region. And as soon as it became feasible, I visited the nearby town of Bucha, which had suffered immensely under the occupation. I needed to see the aftermath with my own eyes, to etch it into my memory. I realized then more acutely than ever that no narrative, book, or documentary can fully convey the profound agony and suffering endured by those who experienced the atrocities of war. When the front line receded, the nonstop cannonades that filled our days ceased, and there was this surreal quiet that felt totally out of place in the midst of war. Nonetheless, life continued to be disrupted by air raid sirens, constant updates from the front lines, and anxious communications with my children who had sought refuge in Europe. My life became a vivid mosaic of stark contrasts. On one side, there was this visceral reality of war, an anti-life force by its nature. With my wife confined to a wheelchair, seeking shelter during air raids was not a feasible option, as the shelters were not designed for accessibility. So as we went to sleep with the sound of sirens in the background, we wondered if we would actually see the dawn. The presence of death felt closer than ever before. And on the other side, I found an overwhelming outpouring of support from both near and distant connections. Heartfelt messages came from people I had worked with almost 3 decades ago and barely kept in touch. Some invited my family to stay in their homes. Others offered financial support. A person in Poland whom I had never met before, the son of a former colleague of a friend, offered a house for all of my children to stay in. In these moments, the sheer strength and kindness of the human spirit shone more brightly than ever before. As I began to practice coaching myself, I discovered another dimension of the war, the battle for the minds of people. Among my clients were those facing profound crises in their relationships with family members who were on the other side. Picture this: a father from Russia, brainwashed by propaganda, accusing his daughter, who had lived in Ukraine for over a decade, of siding with non-existent Nazis. Her anguish was just beyond description. Coaching not only facilitated my personal growth, but also served as a mirror reflecting my own life journey. Some people around me, especially related to international organizations, tried to play peacemakers. They spoke of forgiveness when I shared the raw emotions of my experiences. However, their words, although well-meaning, felt completely misplaced and insensitive. It was a stark reminder of occasions when I, too, had remained indifferent to the pain of others. I advocated for what seemed like rational solutions simply because I was reluctant to truly empathize with their emotional anguish. And others chose silence, a response I could also relate to, having once been that silent observer myself. I reflected on my own passivity during Russia's past aggressions in neighboring Moldova and Georgia, and my detachment from the myriad other conflicts all over the world. This introspection brought a realization of how often I had been deaf to the cries of pain and suffering of others. Those experiences helped me mature and see the roots of the underlying problems much clearer. In my youth, the concept of peace, abused and distorted by communist propaganda, had lost its genuine essence to me. It shrunk to just another empty slogan plastered on every corner. Only now did I fully grasp the true value and fragility of peace. Genuine peace cannot be founded on indifference or superficial slogans. It requires a profound and empathetic understanding that we are interconnected as if parts of the same body. True connection is about experiencing the joys and sorrows of others as if they were our own. We have endeavored to connect the world with the aspiration that deep ties would make the war illogical and economically nonsensical. However, time and again, Russia has shown that such interconnectedness can be manipulated and weaponized. They weaponized natural resources, cutting gas supplies to Europe. They bombed Ukrainian ports to disrupt grain exports, threatening to trigger global food crisis. So it is evident that relying solely on economic, technological, or any other form of external interconnectedness is insufficient for achieving true global peace. What we need is a profound transformation in how people perceive the world and their responsibility within it. Without this fundamental shift in perspective, we're doomed to only devise new methods of conflict. In my prayers, I've been asking God, what role could I play in fostering a change that would contribute to the creation of such lasting peace? I had deep realizations which led me to establish the Shimcheon Institute last year. Some may view launching such a project in the midst of war as reckless, but I believe it truly represents the culmination of my lifelong aspirations. The foundational belief of the Shimcheon Institute is that true love, manifested as selflessness and living for the sake of others, is the most fundamental driving force of human nature. When this principle is actively practiced in every aspect of our lives, within families, schools, businesses, and communities, it has the transformative power to forge genuine connections. As of now, you cannot get a degree in true love, can you? Therefore, the vision of the Shimcheon Institute is to develop and disseminate practical methodologies which will help apply true love effectively across various types of human organizations. And as you might guess, coaching is one of my most cherished methods to achieve this. In conclusion, this journey of mine, marked by challenges and transformation, reflects a larger narrative, the narrative about the resilience of human spirit and the pursuit of true connection, even in the face of adversity. Through my transition from engineering to coaching, I've embraced the power of empathy and the importance of understanding. The establishment of Shimcheon Institute is not just a personal milestone, but a step towards creating a world of interconnected hearts bound by true love. It's a commitment to changing mindsets, driving us towards a future where peace is built as a result of fulfilling human responsibility. Thank you.